Lori, you asked me, why is now the time to buy new technology, and particularly to move to this idea of a multi-tenant platform? The multi-tenant platform in and of itself is a new technology. Software as a service combined with the power of Amazon or Microsoft community platforms. This is a major breakthrough. So why is that important? Why do it? Well, every time there's been a major breakthrough in technology, the parties that adopted it early are the ones that dominated the next generation. Take a look at steam. There's people who stayed in steam, but there were people early on that went into electricity. And they're the ones that then evolved into buying their electricity from municipalities. It's cheaper, easier to use. It's not that it was a bad idea to go to electricity. The guys who stayed in steam are gone. The guys that moved to electricity won. But then there was another transition where the guys who were making their own were in turn the guys that had expenses that made them not uncompetitive. And the people who made that transition to public electricity were the ones that won that transition. And the same thing is going to happen here with software. In the 90s, there wasn't anything to buy. You had to build it. It was just like the evolution of electricity. But today, what we have available, this combination, what I'm calling a platform is software for a service or software as a service that's riding on a major hardware system like Amazon Web Services. Why is that important? Power, virtually unlimited power. You just crank it up. You want some more? Crank it up. You want to pay a little bit less? You crank it back down. It can react and respond on needs basis. Resiliency used to be, could you get your own system back up and working in please 2 days? Please don't make it 2 weeks. You're writing on Amazon, it's 2 minutes. All new hardware, all the data is there, the software's back in place, smack. And it's going to be even faster than that in this generation that's coming on board. You just cannot compete with that. And then security. But they are investing in the millions and tens of millions of dollars relative to security cannot be replicated on a standalone server basis without taking a company who wants to focus on providing transportation services. Now, are they a software shop or are they a service provider? Just like we did it, in our houses, we buy that electricity.
So how is this available to the shipping industry? So how is this available to the shipping industry now? Meaning, what I see in IT is that in technology is that if that provider is also providing the service to be on top of, say, the regulations, they're doing the work that I'm not now having to have a team to do, and I'm not having to be reactive to everything and knowing my timeline and pushing the team. I can focus on my business. Does what you're talking about right now help, get over that? Does it help me decide, you know what, I have systems in place, I am now going to buy because I am going to remove all these costs and distractions from my plate?
Well, I think it does, absolutely. And there's a slow transition. Electricity didn't just go snap from people making it and for their big manufacturing sites to it was suddenly all over the place. It was a 20, 30-year transition. But what's happening, what's driving part of what's going on in transportation, particularly global transportation, are security initiatives. The governments in their concern, especially following 9/11, that transportation devices could be used by terrorists. So they put in place things that basically what's called the 24-hour rule. They said, we need to see the data about the shipment before it even gets on board the vessel or the airplane to come to the United States or to go to Japan or to go to Canada, Mexico, the EU starting this year, and others. And those customs agencies, the data has to be submitted electronically. It emits a format that they prescribe. Everybody in the network is tied into it. It is a data standard by its own definition. And so what I see is people, because it's regulatory, reporting on a shipment, people are using these systems. Then the question is, so you have to do this. What else could you get from this? Well, maybe you'll let your customers have visibility. Maybe you'll let your customer make the booking with you. They're filling in the data instead of you filling in the data. Maybe you'll take that data and send it to the steamship line to make your booking and to send your shipping instructions. And then what you told the carrier to do and what you're going to produce on your bill of lading is exactly what you're reporting to the customs agency. And you're doing this for a fraction of the cost of what it would cost you to develop or just maintain your current system, let alone develop all of that interoperability. So that's where the power comes in. And what it allows a company to do is to be strategically ahead. They can do something, provide a better service to their customer than people who are working using the old technology. Two, they can do it for a fraction of the cost, so they can take the resources that they were deploying to have an IT department. And some of these guys are huge. They look like big software companies and not freight forwarders, and turn those resources into investment in the services they're providing, as opposed to the IT that's facilitating their production. People that do that they're going to have the financial and the services aspect that compete with the people who don't. And I suspect we're going to see a transition, possibly over the next 10 to 20 years. But we're going to see a transition where the multi-tenant platform is the norm, and producing your own looks a lot like being in the steam ages.